Thank you for auditing the always positive new music review show hosted by a French professor who's going to be reviewing the album Abolished Uncertainties by Jae Skeese. Now, I'm going to do that despite two things. One thing is, I did a promo for his single for Bonneville, and they never used anything for my promo. I'm a bitter little man. It's okay. You know, it's cool. I didn't fit whatever their management team was trying to go for, so that's okay. You should watch my review anyways. Everything I said still sticks. The other thing is that my last couple videos on Jae Skeese did not perform as well as I would like them to do, but these are all reasons why I should do this review. Because I like, what's wrong with you? Why are you not listening to Jae Skeese? What do I have to do to get you to listen to Jae Skeese? Maybe I'll have a provocative thumbnail. Maybe I'll say something which I think is true. I think Jae Skeese is the most underrated rapper alive. Now, that's always seen as like an insult, you know, because it implies a lack of success. Fortunately, Jae Skeese is very upfront. He talks about the fact that he doesn't always have the kind of financial remuneration that an artist would like. So it's not actually a slight on him, right? It's you. It's you. It's us. What is it that what is wrong with our collective fandom? Our collective love of hip-hop, where we don't see and fully appreciate Jae Skeese. Every single time he releases an album, I should have my mentions blow up like it's Ka or like it's Makami, right? There should be some kind of outpouring of like, oh, Skye, you gotta review the new Skeese. I mean, not only is he the most underrated MC in the world, the label he's on, Drumwork, is like the most underrated label. And that's Conway the Machine's label. Already got Conway the Machine, one of the best rappers alive right now. And then he has Jae Skeese, and then he also has Love the Genius. So we have like these three amazing MCs all on this small break-off label from Griselda. You know, it's just the sort of evidence that there's all this greatness all over the world, you know, everywhere. Like there's this kind of greatness hiding. And Buffalo, fortunately, Buffalo, New York, a city around 100 miles from where I am right now, has managed to find a way to let some of its greatness out there. So I'm going to try to make this video short because I want there to be the largest chance that you keep watching. I think I want to tell you why he's not bigger. He's not bigger because he's an honest rapper who tells the truth, but the truth is complex. And the thing about rap music is that over time, you know, rap music has largely been an expression of African American males, right? There's been exceptions, but that's largely the expression. And for the most part, the emotional width that we grant, like the amount of emotional experiences or the amount of emotional honesty that a rapper can have, an African-American male rapper can have in the mainstream or even in the underground is very limited. You're only allowed to be a certain kind of human. Sometimes you can only be a gangster, or now, fortunately, the emotional bandwidth, the emotional spectrum, that's the word I'm looking for, the emotional spectrum has gotten larger, but it's like, it has to be a sort of extreme. It seems like it has to be suicide. I'm taking so many pills, I'm gonna start taking more pills. I'm having sex and taking pills. And I'm drinking lean and pills and lean and sex and pills and lean. Okay? That's one thing that we accept, which is a real expression of trauma and self-medication and tragedy. Okay? And then the other one is this more perhaps interesting lane, which some rappers are afforded, which is that of the post-traumatic stress disorder survivor of the ghetto, of the hood, of a life of crime, or of being exposed to crime and violence in your neighborhood, right? But like, what about other people? What about African-American males who are artists, who have an interesting life experience, who are neither hardcore gangbangers, nor are they, you know, pill-popping, suicidal folks, nor are they like, you know, like preaching about all the truths that are going on in the societies and the politics. Like, where we need to move as a society is a place where there's equality. And white musicians for decades have just been allowed to just be just people. Just people expressing their lives. Sometimes it's dramatic, sometimes it's mundane, but that's what we're trying to get to. And Jae Skeese, and especially this album here, there is a certain realness to him which you cannot fake, but maybe people have a hard time appreciating because they want to appreciate. They want the more extremes. But what ends up happening is the value of the honesty that he gives you is greater, because it's an honesty where he's coming to terms with the fact that his kind of honesty is preventing him from reaching greater success. I mean, he's surrounded by the Griselda crew, right? I mean, he could easily just start talking about slang and rocks and all that and chickens and birds and chickens and do, but he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that because he's like this really honest rapper. It's interesting because I've been working in my class. I've been having my class watch FD Signifiers videos on. I have a hip hop class I'm teaching at college, where I work, and I've been having them watch FD Signifiers videos on early Kanye. And the thing about Kanye was that was what he was able to do. He was able to show a kind of honesty of a black experience which was not seen before, which was not presented. He was able to do it in a way that related to and connected to a group of people who felt both unseen by the larger dominant aspects of culture, sort of like mainstream white culture, and also unseen by any kind of black subculture. We need more of this. We need more Jae Skeese. We need more artists who are in that lane of just honesty. Sometimes the honesty is like, dude, I don't collect sneakers. I don't care about what kind of Travis Scott Air Force One desert shade, I mean, if Ghostface couldn't get me to care about Wally's, you're not going to get me to care about Air Force Ones, but it's truth. And so I'm not even getting into the part why he's the best. That's not even the best. I mean, why he's the most underrated. I mean, he's super charismatic. He has the ability to sort of do a yell rap and a normal rap. He's able to sing interesting melodies and rap. He's got insane bars. He's got insane rhymes, insane metaphors, multisyllabic rhymes, internal rhymes, all those things that you're looking for in like a true wordsmith. But somehow he just seems to have slipped into the cracks in between the things that people appreciate. So I, Professor Skye, am staking all of the good faith that you have put in me as somebody who can help to tell you what is good and what is not, or what is good and what is great, and tell you Jae Skeese is great. Even if you didn't use my promo. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not hurt. I'm a little hurt. Smash like bucket. Subscribe. Patreon if you want. But the most important thing is that you subscribe. Okay? That's super important. And like this. So I'm going to give you a stamp. It's the last track of the album. Auntie Crystal. Click up there above the banana, above the cards, and above the Stormtrooper. And this is exactly what he does that's so good. It's produced, there's no like sort of a name brand producers on here. There's no Derringers, there's no Alchemists, or no Nicholas Cravens, but it's all well produced. And this is just, seriously, I don't know. Is it technology? I don't know why there's so many good underground beats. Like there's not a single bad beat on this album, and I'd only heard of like 2 of the producers here. This is produced by Tony Seltzer. Great beat, It works perfectly because he has this sort of sing-songy rap style over a slightly warbled beat. It's got Kota Savia singing, this female singer who's singing da-da-da-da-da-da. The whole thing has this kind of breezy, almost like native tonguesy 90s vibe to it. But then the opening line, here's a peek into my black experience. And so right there, he's sort of setting up this song, and his experience is true and interesting. And it's not filled with the highest highs and the lowest lows, but it's filled with a lot of trauma, but it's filled with a lot of joy, but it's filled with a lot of confusion, awkwardness. Starts off talking about his last name and how he got his name and how he has so many aunts and uncles. And then essentially he does his version of a child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind. Except instead of doing the Melly Mel, he's talking about himself the child. The umbilical cord was short, complications could have been dead. I mean, right off the beginning, he apparently knows that there's complications in his birth, and there we go. Later on, he talks about his father and his father's crack addiction. By the way, his lyrics are not online. I had to type them out myself. So, hey, people who type out rap lyrics on Rap Genius, would you get to it? Seriously. Because my dad was like really, really sick, put the stem right to his lips, but as a teen, he had a form of cancer, took the chemo. He was a fighter too. Beat it like primo. So like this image of his father as a crack addict who also beat cancer, this kind of complexity, I mean, especially with Buffalo rap, so often it's talking about the sales of crack and selling crack. I sort of had this image of 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 Jae Skeese being signed to Conway's label, and I had this image of Conway selling crack to Jae Skeese's father. The whole kind of cycle, the whole disgustingly sad cycle, which is a permanent mark against our country and our inability or our country's lack of interest in having the drug war do anything other than severely hurt marginalized communities, which is the purpose of the drug war. The purpose of the drug war is to damage marginalized communities, and this is all part of that, right? And then like the whole part where his dad stole his piggy bank and left him, and I cried. My parents had addiction issues, but not crack. I never stole money from me. Like, you really feel it. But his story keeps going. He was on the honor roll until his dad's demise. So you see that, like, he took it down there and he made into this good school. I don't know what school it is, but he calls it a melting pot and he never really fit in. Reminds me a lot of, like, Tupac. Tupac went to the performing school in Baltimore. Like this idea of sort of like being a fish out of water, which sort of allows you to be in different place, there's a lot of actually, famous black entertainers who went to white schools and and by doing so were really exposed in a sort of multicultural way, and they learned to exist in multiple communities at the same time, right? Like that's one of the main reasons it's terrible. It's terribly difficult to be a severe minority in a situation, but then it also provides this advantage because it allows you to know how to communicate in multiple communities, right? These kids' parents are doctors. I was from the hood, not where they were talking proper. So, like he has this whole image. And already, you see it. Like his dad's gone, but very clearly he's smart and he's in this school. And he talks about collecting football cards. Larry Zonka, Peyton Walker, got a rookie card of Kenny Walker. Peyton Walter. So he mentions Larry Zonka. I've heard of him. Walter Payton, obviously I've heard of him on the Bears. And then the rookie card of Kenny Walker. And I actually texted a friend of mine who lives in Buffalo, and he collects football cards. And I asked him, what's the deal with Kenny Walker? Was there some hype around him? And there was hype when he was a rookie. No one's ever heard of Kenny Walker, but this happens when you collect football cards or baseball cards or whatever. There's a guy in baseball named Greg Jeffries. And Greg Jeffries, in 1988, everyone wanted his card, and his card was flying through the roof. And then he ended up being a nobody, just a guy, just a jag, And this little detail tells you that he really collected football cards. And if you collected football cards in 1991 and you hear this, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, brown, whatever. This reference is like, bam, this dude really did it. And then he talks about Pop-Tarts for breakfast. He's painting this interesting image. And then he talks about his first pair of Nike Ones, right? Of Air Force Ones. He talks about the place in Buffalo where he bought them, the specificity. And this is where I'm really connecting to Jae Skeese, because I am a collector. I have behind me a Stormtrooper that I have. I have the world's largest Chewbacca collection, Glavin. This is my Pete Rose rookie back there. I used to collect baseball cards. And now it all becomes clear, because people who collect, really seriously, tend to collect things that help them mediate their childhood. Now, some of them only collect to stay in touch with their childhood. Those people end up becoming sort of fascist because they just have a memory of how time was before things got complicated, and they become easy to manipulate with false images of what the past was like. But then there's sort of other people, kind of like me, who are sort of mediating my past. So I collect Star Wars toys because when I was a kid and when my parents were not being good to me and when I was having a terrible time and a very hard time, I found solace in playing with toys. I found solace in collecting cards. I found a certain peace in this difficult time. So now when I'm an adult and I have disposable income, I I buy rap records because I also used to listen to rap tapes and rap CDs, and I would do that in my room. I'd listen to Easy Does It over and over and over again, and I didn't know what the words meant. I didn't know where he was from, but I connected to it. So if I see a Funko Pop of Eazy-E, god damn it, I'm going to buy that, and it's going to connect me not to the good parts of my childhood, but to that struggle. And now that I'm an adult, I could buy a 20-back Stormtrooper with the weird extension sticker on the back. You don't actually see that extension sticker on the back too often. You really don't. But I remember playing with that exact toy. I remember playing that little toy. I remember my brother had a version of that toy where the limbs are super loose, and you go, ooh, like this, and his arms would go around like that and like that. That's what Jae Skeese is. So now when he's talking about collecting sneakers, he's not just a capitalist, not just a consumer. He is also making it clear that there's this emotional heart, which is what makes him a real collector, okay? This is not some guy who's buying Bitcoin and trying to go to the moon, okay? He's not some guy who's doing that. He's doing this as a way to collect. I mean, as a way to connect to his childhood. And this makes it the truest song ever written about collecting. Like, this is I am going to, for the rest of my life, and I also have a podcast about Star Wars collecting I don't talk about on this channel very often. I'm going to bring up this song. I'm going to bring up this artist, because this is why we collect. We collect because of this awkwardness and the difficulty in our youth. So anyways, keeps going, even talks about the October storm in Buffalo in 2006, Lake Storm Aphid. Buffalo's rough, you know? Like, you think he's talking about snow, you think he's talking about Coke, because snow is Coke. Ooh, Snow White. No, man, he's talking about snow. Because when you live in Buffalo, it's real. I live near Rochester, and Rochester is not real when it gets to snow compared to Buffalo. Buffalo is a level of real with snow. Like Santa Claus would be like, I can't handle all this snow. It's just the most snow. And this reference is so specific, and it puts it in a place in time, you know? And he talks about missing his Grammy and shouts out his Auntie Crystal, and you get this sense of this whole person who's had this life, that's had these ups, that's had these downs, managed to create this great art, and has become this person who he is. God damn it. Okay? So listen to Jae Skeese. I'm going to go through the rest of the album stupid quick, because I want this video to be under 20 minutes so that people will watch it. Revolver, first track, great track, chopped up soul beat, separation of the Jordan mids and highs. He shouts out Griselda, very cool, amazing multisyllabic verse. He says, I've always been outside the capital like Schenectady. I live in New York State, love Schenectady references. $1 Million Dreams, produced by Ill-Tone Beats, harp and drone beat, kind of a triplet flow, very hard bars about his aspirations. Bonneville, I did a whole 20-minute video about it, watch that, listen to that song. Everybody's talking about it. Next track is Burner Phone, breezy beat, great story, kind of talks about this whole story where he's like, hanging out with a friend who's trapping, and the whole thing is interestingly recontextualized with the fact that his father died of a crack addiction, at least according to the story. So he's hanging around with all these crack people and these people who promote crack, and that appears to be the sad reality that he grew up in. Out Here, produced by Cartoon Beats, featuring Freeway, kind of a Eastern style beat, attacking style. I love Freeway, he's a great rapper. And then Jae Skeese has to come back and hit it again. Then we get to Symmetry, deep bass, modern sounds. This is the one song that's on Lyric Genius. Just, god damn it. Presently, I'm living out my epiphany. Where I'm from, making out as a myth. Like in Antigone? The Bills went and lost 4 straight. We don't know about no winning streaks. That's all fact, no cap. I don't do no soliloquies. A real Buffalo rapper has to rap about Buffalo. And also, by the way, I'll back here some baseball cards and hockey cards because I am from New England. And New Englanders don't care about football. Don't let them fool you. Don't let them fool you. It's only because of Tom Brady that we ever cared about football and Bill Belichick and winning. We're a bunch of bandwagon losers. That's the truth about New England. I hate to tell you, if you're from Boston, we're a Celtics town, we're a Bruins town, we're a Sox town, we're not a Patriots town. Good riddance. Go Bills. Jesus Christ. That's a football town. And then here, oh my God, I'm not going to make it 20 minutes. I'm going to do my best. Conway refers to himself as being Greg Popovich and drum work as being the Spurs. Beautiful idea. Love it. Drum work is super underrated. Lunch Table is actually like kind of this light kind of 90s style. He's talking about boom boom tap beats like Lunch Table. It puts you back in his high school. Red Kool-Aid, crazy jazzy beat with this great singing, this sort of like slam poet at the end. One of one, crazy awesome swirling beat, matches the beat perfectly. He talks about when he was younger how he used to write verses and he didn't agree with the message, so he's made progress. He was a faker rapper, but now he's being more real. Ekins 3 is just about collecting shoes. I guess Billie Eilish has shoes. Can men buy Billie Eilish shoes? That's the one pair of sneakers I want to buy. Mind Right. Okay, I'm going to go over 20 minutes. Smash the like bucket if you're okay with that. Mind Right is another amazing song. It's like a Marvin Gaye. It sounds like What's Going On. It sounds like it came. If Marvin Gaye from What's Going On could rap, it'd be this song. All these layers. Maybe they could have mixed it a little bit better so the voice is a little bit louder, but maybe not, because even on What's Going On, the voice sometimes gets lost, even Marvin Gaye's voice. Spend some time in self-reflection, but I'm not the best at emotional expression. Don't even like using emojis. Probably why my tone is always misquoted when texting. I relate to that so much. I don't know how to text. I don't know how to express express myself through there. Said technology would ease my workload, but now I'm putting even more on my plate. That's just it. These are all just very, very relatable things. Very relatable. Got to get my Terra King at the end. I got to get my mind right. Got to get my money right. I got my mind right. My money, it'll get there. Very funny. Sideline Saga, cartoon beats again. Piano, gentle waltz beat, underwater beat. Super loud voice here. Feeling like Donald, I can't concede to this. So far, the best Trump line I've heard. And also he talks about trauma and alcoholism, and maybe that he's suffering from alcoholism, trying to deal with all of his trauma. Can you name all of these players and cards? I got some good ones on there. These are all from my childhood collection. Yeah. You want to see my favorite card out of all these? Carlton Fisk. My least favorite? Fuck Don Mattingly. Mustache asshole. Okay. These are my Patreons. They give me money, which allows me to buy music. And I'm going to buy the Jae Skeese album. And I suggest you do too. So thank you to all these guys for supporting me. Support the art. Support Jae Skeese. There's the camera.